take.
All right, UFC 236 now in the books, and what an event it was. Yeah, two absolute wars we got in Israel Adesanya defeating Kelvin Gastelum and Dustin Poirier getting a big upset against Max Holloway.
Where do you want to start this off? Eric, the Professor Guel, gave you a nickname.
First of all, I gotta say, man, this event ranks, top of the year for me. Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, probably the best fight of the year in my opinion. That's the first one I want to get into.
Okay.
Right off the bat, Kelvin Gastelum getting in there with the footwork, throwing those hooks in there, getting at angles that Israel Adesanya wasn't used to. Really catching him with some bombs early in that fight.
I thought he would be staying a lot closer to him, but he wasn't. He was staying a little outside.
Yeah.
And with his speed, was able to avoid some of those big shots in the first round. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, I thought first round, I was like, Jesus, Einstein's gonna have a lot of trouble with Kelvin Gastelum's speed because he was beating him to a lot of those punches. And right when I said that, beginning of the second round, Einstein started timing it. Started finding his rhythm, finding Gastelum's rhythm, and it was just a great back and forth.
Oh yeah.
Great back and forth. Like I said, I had that fight even, 2 rounds apiece.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that last round was a deciding factor. And,
definitely came down to the last round. After the first round, I was thinking, Kelvin was definitely tagging Adesanya quite a bit, and Adesanya seemed to be having trouble with the movement of Gastelum. And I was thinking, in that first round, he wasn't really throwing out a whole lot of leg kicks. Towards the beginning of the second round, he wasn't either. And I'm just thinking, where are those leg kicks to stop that movement? But he started throwing those, and it started wearing Kelvin Gastelum down. Gastelum started to get a little bit tired, as the fight went on. And I remember saying in our prediction that, Kelvin Gastelum has good cardio. But I didn't take into account that this is the first time he had ever been in a 5-round fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was something that he wasn't used to as well.
Both of them, Adesanya had signs of wear on him. I don't think he's ever been touched this much inside the UFC.
No.
Face is all jacked up. Jesus, both these guys had a ton of heart. I was just blown away with this fight. One of the beautiful things. There was a lot of beautiful moments in that fight, but that spinning elbow Adesanya caught Gastelum with was just perfect. Perfect. Wasn't, I don't think, obviously Gastelum wasn't expecting it, but it didn't look telegraphed. It just looked so fluid and so natural. Kelvin didn't even see it coming. That's one of the things that just stood out for me, and that's one of the things I really like about great strikers, when it doesn't look telegraphed and it just looks natural, seamless, fluid, perfect. That's the kind of stuff I love.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that was laying their predictions out in this fight, it was pretty divided, but I don't think anybody saw this fight being as close as it was.
Yeah, like I said, I had it even two round piece.
It was a phenomenal fight. I think it came down to size. If Kelvin Gastelum was twice as big, not twice as big, that's an exaggeration, but if he had size that could somewhat match Adesanya, he would have destroyed Adesanya in my opinion. But he's in a division that he doesn't belong in, and that's what I want to get into. With them going forward, obviously Adesanya is going to be fighting Robert Whittaker for the undisputed middleweight championship, so long as nothing happens in between. God forbid anything happened to this fight. But Kelvin Gastelum, in my opinion, he should really get his diet under control. Go find him a nutritionist that's going to help him. And I want him to actually listen to. He's had Mike Dolce in his corner before, and Mike Dolce refuses to work with him going forward because of his lack of discipline. I really hope he just gets his mindset on really taking this seriously and getting back down to the welterweight division where I think he's championship material. Because look at the way how he fought Adesanya, and just look at the top guys in the welterweight division right now. I think he matches well with any one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He's a better striker than Cameron Usman or Colby Covington in my opinion, and he's got the the wrestling chops to defend their takedowns. What do you think?
No, I completely agree. If he's standing toe to toe with Israel, one of the best strikers in the UFC right now,
Yeah.
no, definitely. I think he should decide to move down. I think that's the best option for him going forward with his career. If he wants to, leave down a pretty significant legacy, which he obviously has the tools to do. So, no, I completely agree.
And he's still young. He's only 27 years old. There's still plenty of time to, like I said, get everything under control. Go back in that welterweight division and, leave your mark. So let's now get into the main event.
All right.
Yeah, as you predicted, it was a brawl. I mean, both of them being pressure fighters, they both came at each other. Neither of them backing down, just throwing the heat. From what I saw, Max Holloway just going full Nick and Nate Diaz.
That's exactly what I was thinking during the fight. I was like, Jesus, this dude could be a long lost Diaz brother. I don't know how long he's gonna be able to keep up his style of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the guy has a ton of heart. Both of them do. But like you've seen guys like Chuck Liddell, who we all thought had a granite chin. Over time, that granite's gonna crack.
Yeah.
I don't know what he needs to do. Well, I do know what he needs to do, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it or want to do it.
Okay.
Those Hawaiians, they like to scrap. And they're down and dirty, nitty gritty fighters. Majority are of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean even somebody like BJ Penn, who liked to go in there and throw heat. He was a good boxer, MMA boxer for his time, but didn't really show any head movement in there. Head movement is something I think Max Holloway could really incorporate in his game after watching this fight. Going back to what you said, there's really no telling how long he's going to be in the game fighting the way he does, unless he does have some Diaz DNA in him.
Yeah.
But let's just assume that we got to enjoy Max Holloway for the time being, because going forward, if he continues to fight like that, eventually that. He's not getting any younger, and that chin is going to deteriorate over time.
What stood out to you in that fight? What was the one thing that really just stood out to you, good or bad? Improvements on either one of these guys?
It's hard to tell because it wasn't very technical. I mean, it was a brawl, and both of them just plotted forward and threw the heat at each other. I guess we both predicted Max Holloway winning the fight. I thought he was going to be able to get in there and use the volume to just wear Dustin Poirier down. But Dustin Poirier is as tough as they come. And one thing I always said about Max Holloway is he is hittable. And one thing that I haven't mentioned before is that he tends to leave his chin out there. I mean, we made a reference to the whole giraffe neck thing, and he does. I mean, his chin is wide open for those hooks that Poirier was throwing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he's actually doing that to draw his opponent in and kind of bait him.
Yeah.
To counter. I'm not sure if he's that's what's going through his head or that's his game plan, but he does stick his chin out a little too much. Don't know what his idea is doing that. If, like I said, if he is trying to bait his opponent, or that's just he just feels comfortable doing that.
Yeah. To Poirier's credit, I didn't think he was going to be able to take the heat that Max Holloway was throwing at him over time, but he took everything that Max Holloway had and threw his own shots, which everything he was throwing in there was a lot more effective than what Max Holloway was doing.
Huge power disadvantage. I mean, or a huge power advantage with Dustin. You can tell every shot landed. It doesn't matter how many shots Max Holloway was throwing. He was throwing a lot of great combinations and doing a lot of flurries. But once Dustin threw a couple of shots, it almost negated that or just took the wind right out of him. He had to start all over again.
Yeah.
Because he was getting rocked with a couple of these shots.
Yeah.
Some of them, like he was getting rocked with some pretty, I wouldn't say they were soft jabs, but pretty hard jabs. I was like, Jesus. I mean, once he started getting steam going, Dustin just said, nope, ain't going to happen. One of the things I really did like, was impressed, was was the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
The defense with Max Holloway. He's a smaller guy, and Dustin's so strong.
Yeah.
He did a great job of defending those takedowns.
Yeah.
And, almost getting a submission.
Oh yeah.
The very last second of the third or fourth round. I think it was third round.
Third round.
Third round with the dart stroke.
Oh yeah, that was.
Jesus.
That would have been crazy.
A couple more seconds, maybe 5 more seconds, Max could have possibly won that fight.
Let's get into where they're going to in the future. Obviously, again, Dustin Poirier will be fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov for the undisputed lightweight champion. Let me ask you this: What are the odds of that fight happening? You know, say if Tony Ferguson decides to, that he's got everything under control and he wants to come back, what happens there?
Jesus, that's hard. I think they might look past Tony Ferguson and give the title shot to Dustin after this performance.
I think so. I think this time around they're going to honor the interim championship. They're gonna give Dustin that fight. Hopefully Tony Ferguson is ready and he just stays put. That way, should something happen to either Dustin or Khabib, God forbid, but should something happen, Tony will be there as backup. And perfect scenario there.
Yeah.
But
I hate saying that because Tony's so deserving. I think of this title shot. He needs to have this title shot for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. But I think after tonight's performance with Dustin, I think they might just pass up Tony and give the title shot to Dustin.
I see it happening as well. Let's get into Max Holloway's future real quick. From what it sounds like, he wants to go back down to 145 and defend his belt. How long do you think he has in that division? Given that the weight cuts aren't really that easy for him.
3 max. If he does decide to fight more than 3 times at that weight class, I think he's gonna be hurting himself.
Yeah.
And hurting his legacy because everyone loves Max. I mean, I think he should put on some muscle and move up to 155.
Yeah.
And like I said, incorporate some head movement because that style is not going to be beneficial for his career or his health.
Who do you think his next opponent is? Who's going to challenge him for the 145-pound belt next? As big as a Frankie Edgar fan as I am, I want to say Frankie, but I think he needs to take one more fight before being considered for that.
Well, since we're living in crazy times in the UFC, why not throw a Hail Mary, Henry Cejudo, jump it up to 145? Because these things, I'm kidding. I really don't know. In that 145 division, I do not know. He's beaten pretty much everyone in that weight class. So
we'll see what happens, man. There's no telling.
No.
I mean, I was rooting for Dustin in this fight, despite the fact that we predicted Max Holloway. I'm glad that an actual contender in the 155-pound division is now going to fight for the undisputed belt. And, Max Holloway is going to go back to defending his 145-pound championship. Whoever that is against.
Henry Cejudo.
Whoever that's against, there's no telling. But all we can do is sit back and see what happens, man. Any final thoughts on the event?
No.
It was just phenomenal.
It was just phenomenal. You couldn't ask for better co-main event and main event, which I thought the co-main event kind of stole the show, but just a little. But my God, I mean, freaking hats off to all 4 of those guys.
Oh yeah,
Jesus. I mean, it was a roller coaster ride because in each fight you thought the fight can go either way. Every guy was looking to have that knockout finish or have the ability to finish each other. It was just, like I said, it was a crazy roller coaster ride. I loved it. I hope all 4 of those guys get bonuses.
Yeah, man.
Jesus.
They all deserve it.
I said it before in a lot of videos, but my God, these fights we've been given have just been phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's crazy on how they're going to top each fight, but somehow they do.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but I'm glad they're doing it.
It's been a great year so far. That's all I can really say about it. All right. There it is. See you next weekend.
I have one thing to say to those non-believers. Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.